just wanna be happy tonight.
Hey everyone, so welcome back. So I have now been exclusively breastfeeding Paxton for a year, so 12 months. Well, obviously he's eating solids now too, but so I've been breastfeeding him for 12 months and still breastfeeding him now, but I am starting the weaning process, so I figured now's a good time for me to kind of share some of my breastfeeding tips, and I figured I would break it into little sections, otherwise it'll get way too long. So I figured the first video will be things that I recommend that you purchase before you give birth, and these things that I would recommend that you take with you to the hospital. So the first two things that I definitely are a must are the nipple butter or nipple cream, and then the soft shells. So whenever you first start nursing, your nipples will be very tender and sore, and they'll crack and just be very uncomfortable. So when you're in the hospital and you're starting to get the hang of things feeding, they will be very, very tender. So if you already have the nipple butter, even before you start having issues, put it on. The nice thing is nipple butter, it is made and so that the baby can ingest it, and at least all the ones that I've seen, it said it's 100% safe to put on and then even have the baby latch on immediately after. But definitely obviously read the back. So I have the Earth Mama, the organic nipple butter, which worked really well. So definitely have some sort of a nipple butter, and then these soft shells. So I actually ended up purchasing these while I was at the hospital because my nipples were so sore that even just having on, whether it be a nursing bra, a bra, or just a shirt, just the fabric touching my nipples was very painful. So these nursing shells, they're basically like little cups that you put over your nipples to kind of protect them and shield them from touching the fabric. So it's it builds like a little dome around the nipple so that nothing is actually touching your nipple. So I wore these, I want to say definitely the first week, maybe even the first 2 weeks, all the time, just because they were so sore. And then the nipple cream, I used that basically until, I don't know, my nipples were kind of used to it. And then now I really don't need to anymore, because you really do adapt and get used to, breastfeeding. So those two things I would 100% take with you to the hospital. The other thing that I recommend is your breast pump. So if you definitely try to get the breast pump from your insurance, before you go, because if you have any issues at all at the hospital with producing milk or your baby not latching, it's really good to just have a pump on hand already to kind of get things going. And then if you are pumping, or if you're lucky and you have lots of milk right away that that you want to store, maybe even take some milk storage bags, or some bottles that you can put the milk into. I didn't have that. I actually had a very small amount of milk at the beginning, and I'll get into that in the next video. But definitely bring a couple bags just in case you do have extra. Now they may have things at the hospital. I know I gave birth to Paxton at the start of the pandemic, so they didn't have, I don't know, I guess any extra adapters or what have you that I could have used their pumps. Either that or they were out of, all the pumps were in use, I'm not sure, but they were like low on everything. So I wouldn't have been able to pump had I not brought my own pump. And then this is just not a nursing bra, a pump bra, which I originally didn't have. And I remember the first, it was almost, I think, the first week, I would hold the pump and do one boob and then do the other boob, and it just takes a lot of time. It's just a lot easier and hands-free if you just do both at once. So that's a recommendation. And then this Lancino 3-in-1 therapy pack, so it's an ice pack and you can use it for a heating pack. So I actually did not use this, so this has never been opened. And I actually, as I was going through collecting all these things, I saw, hey, I might want to use this now, since now I'm weaning and I can put these in the freezer, since you can heat them and cool them. You know, it's nice for when I have really engorged breasts, to put the ice packs on to kind of stop my body from producing milk. So I'll definitely be using that. I guess I forgot I had this, or maybe I misread this, because I remember I purchased this and I guess I didn't look that you can also heat this, because obviously you don't want to cool your boobs down, because you don't want to, you know, decrease your supply, but the heat really does help. So had I known this, I would have used this, you know, earlier on. So bummer, but I'll use this, I guess, earlier next time, but I will be using the cooling. So I'll report back once I, you know, get kind of the groove on the weaning, and report back how I'm doing with that. I'll have a weaning video. And then another thing is the haka. So the haka is a really nice thing, because while you're breastfeeding, you know, you'll have a letdown on, you know, your other boob, your other breast. So you can just kind of stick that on there and it'll kind of collect your letdown. And then you can also use this to kind of hand express some milk. So if you don't have the pump, or you know, you can kind of get the milk out this way. So that's another thing. Again, I didn't have this at the hospital at the time. It's something I probably wish I would have had, although I probably would have just gone straight to the pump. So yeah, so those are things that I highly recommend, you know, purchasing and taking with you to the hospital. And then, like I said, I'm going to do a couple more videos. I guess the next video I'll share kind of my experience at the hospital, you know, with the lactation consultants, and, you know, what I did, what worked for me, and, you know, how things went at the beginning. And I'll kind of, spoiler alert, you know, things didn't go too well at the beginning. So hopefully, if, you know, anyone watching this, you know, it will kind of bring you hope if, you know, you're struggling at the beginning. And then I'll have another video kind of saying, you know, moving forward, you know, how, you know, I got things to get better and improve. And then, you know, now I'm here, now I'm in the weaning process, and I'll be sharing that as well. So hopefully you find this helpful. If there are any things that you brought to the hospital in regards to breastfeeding that you recommend, you know, please let me know, or, you know, leave it in the comments, you know, for other people to see. And then if you have any questions about anything in particular that I talked about, or if you want me to go into detail about anything, you know, let me know, and I will definitely do that. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.